And you mentioned a playoff game for Iowa this year, and that this team could contend for a playoff game. And speaking of weather, can you imagine the excitement? And I know you all are experiencing this right now with Caitlin Clark and the women's basketball team, so you can fathom to a certain extent. But Iowa hosting a college football playoff game in December.
I, I think it's great. I think it's great. Now, I will say this. I have never been a big fan of NFL playoff games when it's 0 degrees. I just think it's almost ridiculous. I know these fanatics that go up to Lambeau on these really cold January days, they love it. But uh, it would be different. I can say that. It would be different. And so remind me again, with the new 12-team format, you have just run down how that works as far as locales. Everybody's, for the first round, who's the higher seed gets home field.
Seeds 5 through 12 play. So just like an NCAA tournament bracket that everybody's familiar with, 5, 12, 6, 11, 7, 10, and 8, 9. And the higher seed gets the home game on campus. So Iowa would have to finish 5, 6, 7, or 8.
I was going to say that makes it a little bit more difficult, to talk about hosting, because they'd have to finish in the top 8.
Otherwise, maybe they're going to Ole Miss or somewhere.
It's all right.
First round playoff game.
Go somewhere warmer. Yeah, sure. It's like a second bowl game. I'll take it.
Do you think you would make that trip?
Down for a game at Ole Miss? Yeah. Ole Miss is a good example, though, because they've been right on the cusp, similar to Iowa in a couple of these years where they finished. I'm not saying they haven't been a better team than Iowa, but I'm just saying they finished in that, 8 to 12. Right.
I'm full of good examples.
Huh?
I'm full of good examples.
Honestly, let's see. Where have they been? Where were they at last year? They finished in the top 6.
They went 10-2 in the regular season. So they would have made the playoffs. Ole Miss.
Where were they at? Where would they have been seeding wise?
Oh, I've done this. I don't like 8 or 9, somewhere like that.
Okay.
They would have made it 2 years prior to that as well.
I have a video idea for you, Mark. Here's what I want you to do this week.
Okay. I may or may not take you up on that, but
I'm sure you've done this. Well, kind of what you just implied. You've done this kind of thing before, but I want you to go back and at least starting with this past year and just continue until interest completely dissolves. Starting with 2023, I want you to take the top 12 teams and make a 12-team playoff bracket and then put it out for your viewers and then make your selections live on the air. Fill out your bracket per se, which is a straight connection, direct connection to March Madness and how fans love to interact with that tournament. Make your picks live on the air and then take calls while you're done.
And maybe I'll take it a step further, because sometimes you see the actual narration of the game and, this is how it would have played out.
Exactly. Yeah.
LaShawn Williams with an 18-yard touchdown run with 42 seconds left to send Iowa to the second round, silences Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi.
That would be really, I guess that's the other thing we haven't talked about in the past as it relates to this 12-team playoff and home field advantage. Like Iowa doesn't play. We talk about Iowa's schedule being so boring. Like this is the one opportunity Iowa fans are going to have to see Iowa playing in non-Big Ten venues. Besides Iowa State, they don't go anywhere else. They play on neutral fields for bowl games, and they play at Iowa State. That's it.
Doesn't that sound cool? Think about Iowa going to Florida State in December to play a playoff game.
Or go to Columbia, Missouri, or go to Manhattan, or go to South Carolina. I mean, I do think that would be interesting and will be interesting. I think it'll happen. I've said this before. I don't think the Iowa football team has a great chance of making the Big Ten championship game for years to come. I mean, I just don't. But I do think they have a chance this year to compete for a playoff spot. Now, some of that's obviously dependent on the health of the quarterback, specifically Cade McNamara. and what we talked about with development up front, but the defense will be ready. I think special teams will be fine. One thing that I don't know if it was brought up last week with Tom, Mark, and we should bring it up. Kirk did make the comment last week that there is a battle right now at punter, which surprised me a little bit to hear him say that. And that may just be tongue in cheek, not wanting to anoint the brand new kid from Australia as the punter. But, they've got, is it Ty Nissen? I don't know how you pronounce the young man's name, but the kid out of Carroll who transferred in from Iowa Western. He's a senior punter. So yeah, I mean, let the guys compete. I would still hope that Reese ends up winning that job, and if so, that he's going to be maybe not Tory Taylor, but as good as you're going to get as a freshman replacement. And if not, then maybe you go to the portal. Like if I know they can't give out many more scholarships, if any more scholarships, but if they have that little confidence in Reese as a freshman, maybe you do go to the portal at punter, which is something they've had success with before. Michael Sleep Dalton was another Australian punter that they nabbed from Arizona State a few years back, and he logged some good snaps for them. So that'll be something to follow.